Every student of mine, whether they take the self-navigation class or not, gets a passport to Carlisle High School's Gifted Support Program. This is a physical booklet that I keep in my classroom so that it doesn't get lost, and it allows me to track everything you do in high school so that when you apply to college, you'll have records to draw on. Furthermore, you can consider this like a big to-do list to make sure that you're prepared for competitive applications. If you stamp every single box in this passport, you'll be in very good shape to apply to very competitive colleges. It starts with some information demographically down the one side, and then a copy of one of my favorite poems by Mary Oliver called Magellan. Like Magellan, let us find our islands to die in, far from home, from anywhere familiar. Let us risk the wildest places, lest we go down in comfort and despair. For years we have labored over common roads, dreaming of ships that sail into the night. Let us be heroes, or if that's not in us, let us find men to follow, honor bright. For what is life but reaching for an answer? And what is death but a refusal to grow? Magellan had a dream he had to follow. The sea was big, his ships were awkward, slow. And when the fever would not set him free, to his thin crew, sail on, he cried. And so they did, carried the frail dream homeward, and thus Magellan lives, although he died. I think this is a really great poem to think about with respect to having your life ahead of you and setting up the importance of being engaged with the world beyond our little nook of it here in Carlisle. And I love that question, what is life but reaching for an answer, and what is death but a refusal to grow? As we move on, you'll see that the first number of pages are record keeping for your grades and courses. It also lets me keep track of things that you've read that weren't required for school and the activities that you participated in. You'll see checkpoints in every grade. For people who aren't doing the self-navigation course, there are 4 things I expect from people in every grade. And for 9th graders, those are goal setting, GPA calculation, starting a resume, and having a writing conference with me. So that's how you could stamp those boxes. We have similar pages for grades 10, 11, and 12. And then we have a place to keep track of your extracurricular activities. And you'll notice that I have those divided into 4 categories: exploration, investment, leadership, and expansion. And I think it's great to start out high school and dabble, check out a bunch of different clubs, see what really sparks your interest. Then start investing so that you can earn a leadership position as early as maybe junior year. And if you have leadership by junior year, you can take it a step farther and do something with that. And now that's asking a lot. But for students who are looking to apply to the most competitive colleges, if you have your sights set on like an Ivy League school, just being a president of a club or two is still probably not enough to distinguish yourself in their very, very, very competitive eyes. So if you can use your passion and demonstrated leadership to start an initiative in the elementary schools or somehow do some outreach based on your passion and demonstrated investment in an activity, that's the type of thing that can catch their eye. On page 11, you'll see opportunities to make sure that you've participated in some of our academic competitions. Most people have no trouble checking these off. Hopefully you'll participate more than once and get multiple stamps in those boxes. We go on to a whole section on geography. You'll see pages dedicated to different regions of the world. Each one includes geography, current events, and exploration. And over the course of the 4 years, I'm hoping that you'll engage with the whole world in various forms, whether that's through current event tracking, taking some geography quizzes. It scares me how little some people know about the physical layout of the world. And then the exploration part might include reading a book from the region or traveling to the region if you have the opportunity. I know that that's tough for a lot of people, but somehow engaging with that. You don't have to do all of these things, it's not required. But again, earning as many stamps as possible, and I do have actual passport stamps I use in these booklets, just means that you're exceptionally well rounded. Moving on, we get to the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, and I'll be doing one of those a marking period. Over the 4 years, you'll hit the first 16, and the 17th is just partnerships for the goals. So, if you participate in my activities each marking period, you'll earn stamps in all of these and have a better sense of the issues facing the world and what the UN is trying to do about those problems to make our world a better place. Then, a section for lectures and academic pursuits. We can keep track of things that you've done all 4 years, and basically just check off that you've gone to some and been interested in guest speakers. Then I have a place to keep track of your standardized test scores, starting with the PSAT that some of you may choose to take in ninth grade. More take it in 10th, and it's basically required in 11th grade if you want to have any consideration for national merit scholarships. SAT, ACT, and AP tests will also be tracked on here. Then we get into college planning, and you'll see a box for angle. Like, what is your story? What's your narrative? How are you trying to pitch yourself as an interesting candidate? That's the first thing that we think about, and something you should be using high school to shape. Then we want to make sure that you have teachers lined up to write your recommendations, and we can make sure they follow through on those. Having an essay with a topic, and then conferences when you'll meet with me to go over those, and then making sure that we address some of the issues related to financial aid. Then you see a bunch of boxes in college planning with space for the names of colleges, whether those are reach schools, target schools, or safety schools. We'll want to make sure that you have demonstrated interest and reached out so that colleges know that you're serious about them. They're more likely to accept somebody that they think is likely to accept their acceptance and enroll there. And then we can keep track of whether you got in or not. Hopefully, you'll get in everywhere. And then that just brings us to the last page of notes. Again, I think that this passport is super useful, and it will be a great tool to make sure that you have positioned yourself as well as possible for acceptance wherever you apply.